Hi, I'm Rich Wynn.
And I'm Rebecca Nixon, and this is the PropTech Growth Podcast.
Every episode, we interview an expert in the PropTech startup space, gathering their advice and expertise to help you run a successful PropTech business.
I'm the Portable PropTech CMO, and I help PropTech startups build and scale their commercial growth strategy.
I'm Rich from Rich Wynn Consultancy. I specialise in operations, sales and process, helping fintechs and PropTech companies to grow. Is it nice over there?
Yeah, it's been really nice, actually. It's been lovely and warm and sunny. Yeah, for a good few days, almost a week now, actually, and we're expecting more of the same. Durin, would you settle down, please?
Good. I thought it always rained in Wales, but obviously you get the odd week here and there.
We actually get loads of sunshine.
Yeah.
And we actually talked about it yesterday. Luke was like, you do realize it rains twice as much here as it did when we lived in the Cotswolds? And I'm like, I mean, I'm sure it does, but I don't feel that. Like, I'm enjoying the weather. I think it's really nice. So yeah, I don't know.
Photosynthesis for the plants, for all your garden stuff as well.
Oh my gosh, we've got so much stuff growing at the moment. It's amazing.
Really?
Yeah, you name it.
How's Pitch Perfect going? You seem to be pretty happy with it last time we spoke. All good?
I've got 4 startups doing it. I've got a few more in the pipeline, but not as many as I'd like, which is why I sent an email campaign out this morning trying to get a few more in. Yeah, it's good. I finally got it to the point where I'm really happy with the process, and I've managed to get the sessions down from 2 hours to 90 minutes.
Oh, that's good.
Which is good because that means I can book in sessions with half-hour breaks in between, and then I don't have to be back to back all day long. The first company I signed up, they just finished, and they loved it so much that they want to keep working together. So
brilliant. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's at least one company that you fooled. You know what you're doing.
Shh. Yeah, it's good. It's good.
No, it's really good. It's a great idea, and you're making the most of it, and well done you, because if you can't market your own course and make it successful, then what are you even doing?
No, what am I doing in marketing if I can't? Yeah.
I've just been out walking for 2 hours, enjoying the sun and having a coffee.
I'm glad that you did that.
Yeah, you need to. I put out a post today about mental health and stuff like that, and I do think without that walk in the morning, and like I walk to get a coffee, but I walk about anywhere from 5 to 10k, and
Wow.
So I walk quite quickly, but I put my running shoes on to do it as well, so I know that I'm not going to knacker up my knees any more than they already are, or my back. So yeah, it's good, and I think it's so important, especially on a day like this. Just take half an hour, walk to a beer garden tonight. Perfect night. It's going to be cooler, but it's still going to be really nice and warm. I'm not going to be wearing. Well, I haven't been wearing trousers for. Obviously, I've been wearing shorts and I've been walking around naked. But I had to wear jeans for the last 2 days for various things, and it's absolutely killed me. I'm just it's one, because I need to get back to the gym, but 2, it's good, and I think it is important. And I was mentoring on Monday at Block Dojo, or doing the initial sort of introductions and meeting the startups, and that was one of the questions. They a couple of the founders were asking me, around loneliness, mental health, stuff like that. It is so important. So and I don't condone drinking. I don't think that's a great thing to do, but walking to a beer garden, have a cranberry juice or a Guinness, Guinness is healthy apparently, or the more healthy but still not healthy.
Yeah, in moderation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or walk to the ice cream van and get an ice cream, or whatever you need to do something nice and just get out, because if you sat in the same place that whole day, it's like being sat in detention, isn't it?
Yeah,
you've got to go, and if it's not exercise, just do something else that you enjoy.
Well, our routine in the morning has become, because Luke has to open up the polytunnel, the greenhouse and stuff, get the farm ready for the morning. So I get Durin up and I take him down into our first field where we've got some chairs set up, and he has a bit of a run around, Luke opens up the farm and makes us a couple of coffees and comes down and meets me down there. And we sit down out in the sunshine with the dog, having a cuppa and a chat just about our day before we go inside or crack on with work. And yeah, just that half hour or so first thing in the morning makes such a huge difference.
That sounds amazing. I mean, I think you've got a great lifestyle. I'd love to do what you're doing, but that sort of thing, to be able to do that in the summer, just so like and peaceful and quiet, and dog runs out, like it's just class. So yeah, insanely jealous on that.
Well, we are far from perfect. We have had many challenging moments, and I think the biggest lesson that we've learned is it's very easy to sort of idealize the country lifestyle, but if you are a startup person like both of us are, you will take that with you wherever you go. And our first year here was honestly way more stressful than any startup I've ever been in, because we took that approach here and we wanted to do everything at once. We got totally overwhelmed and stressed when it was supposed to be this fun, relaxing thing. And I think it's really important to the lifestyle or the energy that you're seeking in yourself to cultivate that internally first and foremost, and then carry it with you wherever you go, whether it's to live on a farm or to walk down the road to go to a beer garden or get an ice cream. That's something that's internal rather than external.
Yeah. And I mean, it's obviously, it's always hard starting up, and you know, you've never properly started a startup like in tech, so you don't really know what it's like. But yeah, you know, you set up your little hobby business in marketing. So
well, Luke's been
Luke's not you though, is he?
No, I have never co-founded. I've been many a first employee, but never a co-founder, and I've intentionally
you don't have to.
There's a reason I am not in that position. I see how strong you have to be to do that, and I think, you know what, I think I'd rather just stick with what I do.
yeah, I think you're right. And yeah, so tell me, obviously I sort of, we spoke about it at the start, but tell me a little bit about Pitch Perfect and what it does, and like not necessarily the modules, but you know, I know you were writing them and doing them. Obviously it's stuff like you say that's in your head, you just need to get it down on paper and sort of, so yeah, tell me about that.
So essentially, as we know, the way to build a relationship with clients and to develop your customer pipeline is first they like you, then they trust you, then they buy from you. And I think trying to get that across to founders on a very high level works, but what often ends up happening is they always end up talking about the product, and they get far too into their own little world of their business, which is completely understandable. That's the four walls that they are living in. But what it does is it causes them so many problems when it comes to marketing and selling their product. And I think it's been such a consistent issue that I've seen with so many PropTech startups, is just focus on product, focus on themselves and what they're doing and why it matters. And then they're like, nothing's converting. And so Pitch Perfect is very much about having developed a framework whereby a founder can build those relationships with their target market, really understand them, get into their shoes, empathize with them, and ensure that everything that they're putting out there in terms of their messaging is connecting with the customer. And so it's much more easier said than done, but I take them through that whole process of understanding the customer, prioritizing the messaging, and then we do a bit of work on which channels to use and how to get it out there and how to engage with people. But yeah, ultimately it is a messaging piece of work, and it's really, really foundational and fundamental. And it's something that I feel I need to do with every client before I can even look at things like branding or marketing channels or growing a team. Like, I've got frameworks for all of that other stuff, and that's all really important. But none of that will have any remarkable effect if your messaging isn't right. So that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's good. I like it. And I think it's a great, like you say, before you start working with the client, you want to either know all that, like from them, or have them in a place where they've got that, and then you can immediately see where you can help that client. And that's probably why you've been taken on by the first client that you had, because it's one thing taking a equivalent of 5-week course, but then you actually got to put that in practice, and with everything else going on, that's a hard thing. So, you know, having a portable CMO just makes sense. So yeah, no, it's really good. Really good.
Yeah, and I just, as I said, I just had my first client finish the course program, prefer program, because I'm not just throwing information at you. We work together on it, and the feedback was really, really positive. And yeah, I've got a number of other people doing it as well, and they're all loving it. So far, so good.
Excellent, really good. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah, it's the Christopher Watkin episode on the podcast, where he goes into detail about that, get someone to like you, and then they buy from you, and that mountain that he sort of made us draw out, and you know, went over that again is massive. And yeah, it's really good. I think what's been great about this podcast is, you know, one, people watch them and listen to them, which is always nice. But I can say that I have learned so much by speaking to these experts. It doesn't even matter if they're in PropTech or not. Like, we're lucky that a lot of them are. But just, you know, overall, what I've taken from each sort of episode, either editing it or just watching it back, there's so much stuff in there, and it is hard to comprehend everything that's going on, even in a like 40 minute podcast. Whereas if you've got it down in a very structured way, as you have, and I know that you're structured, it just makes it so much easier, and you can take the things that you've learned as well as your experience. And yeah, I just think it's great. I think it'll be really successful, or more successful than it's already. So well done you on that.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate that. What about your audit? You've been doing a PropTech audit.
Yeah, it's going all right. I mean, I think it's interesting time at the moment, and I've not marketed it at all, really. I've spoken to people about it, and I've done a couple, and I enjoy doing it, and I love looking through people's businesses anyway. But what I'm really enjoying and have enjoyed is the mentoring side of things. Unfortunately, it doesn't pay at the moment, but like I really, really enjoy getting into people's businesses and giving them some advice, and saying what I think they can do, and then looking at your processes, your operations. Because I was saying to my business partner this morning, it's so important that we keep going back to, this is actually what we want to achieve. Because you can get lost in the process and things happening, and it's actually, let's every month take some time and go back and look at what we achieve. And actually, if it's becoming really labor intensive, well, that's the whole point of this, was for it not to be labor intensive.
Yeah, gosh, so true.
It's keeping that going, as well as trying to put processes in place, and ultimately is about sales. And I know, obviously, from what you said about Picture Perfect, that the marketing side of it ultimately leads to sales, because they go hand in hand anyway. So yeah, I'm enjoying it, and it could be busier, but I've got so much going on that it's really good fun. So yeah, it's all right. It's all right. But like you sort of have ideas and change stuff up, and at the start when we first met. You know, it's all about just working with companies as a CTO, and now that's CMO, and that's sort of changed into, I can still do that, but I can also do this. And
Yeah.
this is the variety that I've got, and I think, you know, that's I've got that. I just need to get my ass in gear and sort that. And obviously, I'm still doing a lot of work with inventory base, which is brilliant. And you know,
Yeah, they're getting on.
So yeah, I lots going on, and obviously some big news coming up soon. So that's really exciting. So yeah, just keeping my head down and getting some money in, which is ultimately what business is, isn't it? Trying to balance everything and make money. So yeah, it's good. But yeah, the one thing that I'm enjoying the most is the thing that I don't get paid for, which is a bit strange. But yeah, it is the mentoring side, and again, it all ties in with what I'm doing, you know, with the audit and the sort of the process and sales process and all that sort of stuff. It all ties into the mentoring. So maybe I just need to find a way to monetize mentoring, but it's pretty much the same thing. It's just how you market it so it comes across properly. So yeah, maybe we'll have a conversation about that. Marketing is easy. It's just really boring. So yeah, maybe. You what? Sorry.
You're such a wind up.
Yes.
I'm not taking the bait, Rich.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it's good, and I think it's interesting where the industry is at the moment. Obviously, I've spoken to so many people, and they're just like, we're just waiting for funding, and then I'm speaking to people, you know, people have been trying to get funding for the last 6 months or whatever, and they're like, it's just a different market. Like 2022 to 2023, it is just completely different. And this is not companies who are potentially going out of business or their runway is 3 months or 6 months or whatever. This is, you know, we need to scale, we want the funding, but you know, we just need to find it. And I think with pre-revenue firms and also, you know, those with a small MRR, if you cannot show a big amount of money coming in, people are just not interested. It's the long and short. And why, you know, ultimately, why would they be? Like, you know, old Trussonomics killing us off. Like, you know, it's it's difficult. It's difficult, but yeah, I think the best companies will keep going, but I think we will start to see some drop off in the same way we're seeing drop off with agents. You know, just wrapping up. I mean, you know, the whole sort of process taking 6 months and everything like that. It's just you know, I don't know how a lot of them are surviving, but
yeah, and everyone's trying to sell to agents at the moment as well.
Yeah.
Like half the prop techs I speak to are trying to sell to agents. There's so much noise. The agents have so many struggles and challenges of their own at the moment. Unless you're directly addressing those, you're not going to get anywhere with agents.
No, it's for them. It has to be, well, it always is, but how can I get more listings? If you've got something that helps them to get, and we're talking obviously residential, because I think that's where most of our business is. You know, I don't know that much about the commercial space, if I'm honest. I do know a couple of really good companies in that area. Yeah, I think the residential market is tough, and unless you can do something that shows instant, we're going to bring you more cash in.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and you have to be able to demonstrate that really, really well. You can't just claim, because everyone's talking about the USP is we increase efficiency, we save you money, we do this, we do that. And it's like everyone says that. Every single startup you talk to has the same 3-point USP: increase efficiency, reduce costs, delight your customers.
Yeah.
You really have to differentiate and really quantify what it is you're bringing to the table.
Yeah. And it like you said, it needs to be a consistent message. You know, you've got to use you can like webinars and what appearing on things and just getting that consistent message across that we can save you money. Because it's one thing to cold call an agent and just say, you know, we can save you money. Or even if they respond on your website, you've then got to, you know, convince them that this is the right thing to do. And, you know, obviously the Renters Reform Bill, I don't think it's an act, is it? It's bill. You know, landlords are apparently less interested now, and, you know, selling up and stuff like that. I think it's all a little bit out of proportion. I can't see, having been a landlord and been through a load of rubbish, you know, things always change and they're never as bad as you think. And where people are selling up, other landlords will just take the property on because there's still so much money in it. And, you know, since they added the 3% stamp duty in, whenever it was, 2015, 16, maybe 14, you know, there's always been a battle against landlords, and, you know, it is what it is at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I think it'll be fine. You know, you get good tenants, you get good bad tenants, you get good landlords, you get bad landlords. You know, it's you know,
And the world keeps turning.
Exactly. So yeah. I've become a real. Sorry.
No. I decided to put together a PropTech founder survival guide. And I talked to a number of clients about sort of what are the main issues that you have, what's the most painful stuff that you're dealing with at the moment, particularly things that you don't like talking to people about. Number one was the mental health issue, and a number of other things as well. So I emailed a bunch of people today being like, look, this is what PropTech founders are telling me. Do you have anything that you want to add or share to be addressed in this guide? And I got an email back from a PropTech VC. And I won't name names, but he responded with, well, this isn't really PropTech specific, so I'm not sure I can help. And I just thought, first of all, you've completely missed the point, because your job is to work with founders, and the number one issue they have is a universal human challenge. So instead of going, oh, that's really interesting, you've got, oh, well, that's nothing to do with me. It's just completely unempathetic. But also, the reason I didn't write some of the more PropTech specific things that I have on my list from founders is they're not very complimentary of VCs.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, I won't put those in. Maybe I should have, and then this guy would have got the PropTech specific content he wanted.
Yeah. Obviously, I saw that email, and I think, yeah, one of the things I just don't understand at all, how founders don't know what acronyms are. Go on Google, work them out. Like, you know, I haven't responded yet, but I nearly responded with, I can answer all these questions really quickly and easily for you. Like, you know, go to Dr. Google and you're pretty much all right.
That's true, but there are exceptions to that, because in a niche topic, it can actually be hard to Google an acronym and get what you're looking for.
Yeah. But then, do you really even need that many acronyms? Like, how many acronyms are there that you actually?
That we don't need. Yeah.
As long as you do.
I think in particular, because we've talked about this before, right? There's two kinds of PropTech founders: the prop founders and the tech founders. People from a property background, people from a tech background. And people from a property background are like, I don't know what PAM is. I don't know what CAC is. You know, they don't know the sort of startup metrics. And then the people who are from a tech background, they don't know what RICS means. They don't know, you know, what a lot of the sort of industry specific stuff is. And you almost need, a way of bridging that gap. Apart from Google, I think Google is, number one stop for the tech people, but not for the property people.
Yeah, and I think it's easy to say, but no one's out there to see you do badly. Just ask someone if you're not sure.
Mm-hmm.
You will know someone else in the space, or just reach out, or put on LinkedIn. Like, no one cares if you know what the acronyms are or not. If they can help you, there will be someone who just like LinkedIn message them, like, and just say, I'm struggling with this. You seem to have like a really good take on it. Can you just let me know? And it's going to be 2 minutes of someone's time, and they'll just message you back.
Yeah.
Like no one cares if you know it or not. People should just be interested in what their business is doing and how they're doing. And if they can help someone out, which everyone seems to be, happy to help people out in the same way people have appeared on our podcast who have no idea who we are. Like, they're happy to do that. You just have to ask, and it's obviously a confidence thing. But yeah, you just need to get over it and do it.
I completely agree. I actually think that's some of the best advice I've ever heard on our podcast, because so often people are really afraid to show vulnerability or a lack of knowledge in a certain area, and it's really detrimental for them to be able to overcome that. But actually just ask. No one who's not a complete asshole is going to laugh at you for not knowing something that, okay, to them might seem very basic and fundamental, but we've all got blind spots.
Yeah, I mean, they just won't answer. Like, like that, and then they might say something about you behind your back, but it's just like, who cares? Like, you literally have no bearing on my business whatsoever. It's like founders sometimes just need to get a harder skin and just like grow a pair and get out there, because if you think it's affecting your business that you need to know these acronyms, then, like I said, just ask someone. There's loads of people out there who want to work with you, such as like me or you. Like, just ask someone. Like,
Yeah,
it's not. It doesn't need to be a big thing, but then sometimes they just need someone to say that to them. But yeah, I mean, that would be being in. Maybe you need to do a video on the different acronyms.
Like, oh yeah, I could probably do that. Yeah,
something like the talking clock, like TAM. I don't even know what. Yeah, I do know what TAM is, but I have to look it up. When you were first talking about it, like TAM, SAM, CAM, whatever you were on about, like, I was like, what the hell is that? Like, I didn't need to know that acronym because I already understood the concept. But then it's interesting to know. But again, Dr. Google helped me out with that one. So yeah, it's interesting.
Well, one of the other ones I thought was quite telling is I have 3 clients who for whom English is not their first language, and all 3 of them are excellent communicators, but it really affects their confidence, because they're like, oh, I don't know the word for this thing or that thing, or I have to think through everything in my first language before I translate it to English. But honestly, like, every single one of them are better communicators than some of the native English speakers that I know. They worry about their spelling, grammar, punctuation, using the wrong words. But again, I find that vulnerability is very endearing, and you just like them more because they're trying, like, they're actually making an effort to do what they're doing, which is really admirable.
Yeah. And then again, they just have to play to their strengths. If
Yeah.
that's what they need to do, then they need to get people on the phone, or they need to do videos rather than writing something down. My grammar's appalling. Like, I write how I speak, and apart from all the ums and ahs and ers or whatever, but it's again, just play to your strengths. No one really knows grammar. Like, I don't know what, half the stuff. My 7-year-old's smarter than me at grammar and stuff like that, and always, telling me the right words and stuff like that. If I don't know something or I can't think of a word, I just say photosynthesis, because it's a big word that some people may or may not know, and then it's sort of almost a laughing point, and then you just go from there. So if they're excellent communicators, they just need to get, like, you'll point them in the right direction. They just need to get the channel that suits them best, and not worry about it, because who really cares? Like, I understand if it's like company documentation or brochure or whatever they're doing, or an ebook or whatever that is, they want to make sure it's right. Then just send someone to proofread.
Yeah, exactly.
To proofread, and they'll probably come back and have made it worse with regards to grammar, because, like you're saying,
good help isn't that
the brightest people in the world. I've got degree in politics and international relations, but I don't remember anything from it. And I can certainly tell you that the grammar was shocking in my dissertation, with sort of 400-word sentences and stuff like that. But, you just do what you do, don't you? And again, it's the same with coming to market with you sort of MVP. Just get it out there. Don't wait till it's perfect. If people come back to you and say, oh, actually, I think, but that's brilliant because that's free advice. And so I think it is just, yeah. So, yeah, I will email you back and just tell you my thoughts on stuff. I've already given them, really, as in just grow a pair and get it out there. But, that is what you need to do. Because no one wants to see you fail. Doesn't matter if they're a direct competitor or whatever. No one wants to see you fail. Everyone just wants their business to do well. Like there's every space. Look at the mortgage market. There were so many mortgage brokers, like 8,000 in the UK, all doing the same thing. There's nothing really different. How, like, obviously with digital brokers, it's not really different. It's just a lead generation machine it's a better UX for the customer rather than having to go over the fact find on the phone or whatever. They can fill it out in their own time, all that sort of stuff. The market is big enough for everybody if you get the product, or the right thing for that time, or you can put it across how you want to. So yeah, it is interesting. I've thought of a couple of other things that I've sort of, people have spoken to me about over the last week. So yeah, it's good. I think that would be useful. Maybe you have put a almost like a, I forgot what's called, an index at the back with a load of acronyms in your guide, and just say TAM means, I don't even know what it is. Well, I do know what it is. I just can't remember off the top of my head. Yeah, total addressable market. And then you've almost taken that one away. And it's like, this is, put a quiz in there, which has the best grammar, like on 4 different paragraphs or whatever. What do you think is right? And you could make them all wrong, but some, and do you know what I mean? However interactive it is, and
no, that's really fun. I hadn't thought of doing anything interactive, but I really like that actually.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Because I think it's obviously you would answer the questions, but it would be interesting to get like 3 or 4 people's different takes on it. Like mine, for all of them, would just be grow a pair and ask someone. Like, but
being a wuss.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's good. I like it though. Again, another really good idea. And yeah, I think you'll get some good take up on that, because you know how to market, so you're going to get some take up. Yeah,
I genuinely also just really like helping, and I think most people get enjoyment from helping other people. That's why your advice about just asking works, because people want to help. They want to be able to give you an answer and make your day in their 5 minutes of effort.
Yeah.
So I get real pleasure out of developing anything that I know actually helps people. And so when I talk to my clients, these sorts of things come to the fore. They go, oh, this is a problem, or that's a problem. And it doesn't matter if it's a marketing problem or not. If it's a problem and it's my client's problem, it's my problem.
Yeah.
And I care, I help. And whatever I can do to help with that, okay, maybe the only thing I can do to help is to steer you towards someone in whom that is their area of expertise, but that's something, rather than be the person who goes, oh, well, that's not my remit.
Yeah. And, we've asked each other stuff, like if different clients and stuff like that, because we've got different skill sets. Again, when I can be bothered to respond, I respond. Like, and same with you. You got busy, like, but if we can help each other, we just help each other. Like, we've never met, we don't really know each other. Like, oh yeah, we have met because you're a hobbit, so I remember that. But
a proud hobbit.
Yeah, but we started working together like just through a couple of phone calls and a couple of emails. Like, we didn't meet for like 3 months or whatever, but we were both helping each other out, relatively new. Like, obviously not with us, but you know what I mean. With our own little businesses. So yeah, and everyone's there to help. I think that's why I like mentoring, because it's you know, it's giving advice and helping people and things that they haven't thought of. Like, it's always nice. And then it makes the person who's giving it away feel good because they're like, oh, I'm quite knowledgeable actually. And it also helps the other person. So again, it's a feed their ego. And yeah, that's a good one. Grow some balls and feed their ego of people that you know, you're an expert. Please tell me what TAM means. Total addressable market. Brilliant. Okay. And what does that actually mean? Speak to someone in marketing.
All the people out there that might buy your stuff. It doesn't have the same ring to it, does it?
No, but yeah, it's good. I think that'll be interesting to see what you come up with on that.
Yeah. I mean, some of it is just a bunch of crap that people don't need to know anyway. I remember the number of startups I worked with that in their pitch decks would always be talking about their CAC to LTV ratio. And I'm like, you've got a niche B2B SaaS product. Can you just make sure that you're spending less money than you're making? Because actually that's your biggest problem.
Yeah.
I don't care about your LTV to CAC ratio. Our average onboarding cost is 30 grand per client and our average contract is 15 grand per client.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors in that world. Maybe that's why I need to write the list of acronyms.
Yes.
CAC to LTV ratio, a bunch of bollocks that is a waste of your time.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I think that's key, and I think that's the best advice that you can give. Have more money coming in than you have going out. Like that is ultimately it. Like if you want to bootstrap or you want to VC, like, or even just raise money from a bank or, you know, debt or however you want to do it, you know, ultimately you need to have a plan where you bring in more money than you spend. And if you're at the start, you might feel like you need to spend 10 grand a month and then you get 2 grand in. But I'm telling you now, it's a waste of time. Don't do it. You'll never get back to where you know where you want to be on that, or you'll get to 5 and 5 and you might break even. But you know, where's the value in that? You can't live off nothing forever. No. So yeah.
Well, a lot of those metrics really are a smokescreen to try and encourage people to invest in a company that isn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that about the specific metric we were just discussing, but I mean, in general, focusing on dozens of different KPIs and metrics is a really great way to distract yourself from ever having to build a fundamentally successful business.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the old hiding behind a spreadsheet or, you know, whatever, trying to work out something that doesn't need to be worked out. You just need to be out there developing your business and getting out there and speaking to people. Ultimately, if you're not doing that at the start of your business, you ain't got a chance.
No. And the number of times I speak to a startup, particularly when they've got a salesperson on the call, and I ask them what their biggest problem is, and the salesperson almost always will say, I don't have enough leads coming in. And I'm like, okay, have you done an exercise where you work out your TAM and you figure out how many leads are out there in the universe for you to go and get? Well, no, but we think it's about this much. All right, have you actually just gone through and identified them and reached out to them? Well, we sent an outreach email to 1,000 people and it had a 12% bounce rate. Like, what are you doing? Leads exist out there in the world and your job is to go get them. They're not necessarily going to come to you, and you need to actually offer them value and engage with them and build a relationship so that they understand why they should even talk to you. And I just keep hearing these excuses like, oh, no one's coming in. And it's like, they're not going to.
Yeah.
They've got stuff going on.
But, and again, it all starts with the founder. You know, if they haven't set up a proper sales process or actually worked that out, what's the point of hiring a salesperson to come in and you waste X amount on their salary and you haven't even got a process for them, or you expect them to build a process? Actually, they don't care as much about the business as you do. They're just there for a salary. Like, ultimately, that's what, you know, there's salary and commission. That's what salespeople do.
Yeah.
So if you don't have the right process to start with, or you haven't set it up properly, or you might have hired the wrong person because you know, they say, oh, I can set up a process for you and all that sort of stuff. But actually, when it gets to it, I've just not got enough leads coming in to do that. Well, go out and get some.
Yeah.
But the founder should be doing that for, or depending on who the founding team is, someone should be setting that up for you. Like, and then you can just come in and get going and know what you're meant to do.
Yeah, and the excuses do get boring, and I wonder if fundamentally it's because so many people have an idea that they think is great but actually isn't.
Yeah.
It's something we can all be guilty of. It's the fear that I have about my own business on a regular basis.
Yeah.
But the fact that I have that fear and ask that question and try to address that hopefully means that I'm aware enough to not end up in that pitfall. But the number of people who have an idea that just isn't that compelling, and they think that any number of different activities is going to fix that. Yeah. If you haven't sold to one person yet, you've got a big problem.
Yeah. And it's, again, it's practice what you preach. You've sent out an email to various different people in, various different guises saying, what do you think of this? But VC's come back and said, oh, I don't think anything about it. I don't care. And if everybody comes back and says that it's probably not a good idea. Like, it might seem like a really good idea, but obviously the point is then to get business. But if no one gets anything from, the guide, you're not going to get business from it. Like, nope. You market the hell out of it, but it doesn't matter. You're not going to get business from it. So if everyone comes back and says, I don't think this is a great idea, or I don't see it, or have you seen this? It's already been done.
Yeah.
Like, you have a look at the success of it, or it's been done for a general rather than prop tech. Then either you can steal those ideas and then just put it out specific for prop tech, which is an option, or not to waste your time on it and then put more into something else where it's like put more into pitch and less into to this, and that's why it's interesting. That's why business is interesting and good fun.
I love split testing ideas. So something I don't usually do is run ad campaigns, but occasionally I'll run an ad campaign on LinkedIn. And it was just an ad for Pitch Perfect, but I wanted to test 4 or 5 different sets of messaging and just see what was the most engaging so that I can scale that up and use it. And it was very revealing. No, I didn't make any sales through that campaign, but I learned a lot. And the most compelling piece of content across that campaign was something around how founders are spinning too many plates. How can we make things easier for you? That's really generic messaging, right? That's not PropTech specific.
Yeah.
But that was the one that got the highest level of engagement. So that's what I'm going to use for other things now. Yeah,
and it's I can't remember if it was a podcast or it was last time we spoke. You were saying how LinkedIn ads are so much better than Google, and for what you're trying to do. And again, practice what you preach. It's good for your clients to know that you've done it and you've got something from it. Gives them one up because you've already got that information, but it also, you can explain to, well, I've done this and it's created this and it's cost me X, but I've got X coming in, and you can, this is how it works. I think that's really good.
Let's build it for you too. Yeah, and it is a blueprint, and yes, there are customizable, unique things about every business, but at the end of the day, ultimately, there are things that work and things that don't, and ways to figure out what they are that are very practical and very implementable by any business. Just need to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's the same for you with ops and sales process and stuff, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm long enough in the tooth to know what sales processes work and what don't, or have a basic standard. I know that this works because I've done it in my own businesses. I've done it in the financial services industry. I've done it in commercial real estate in Dubai. I know what works as a sales process. In Dubai, it's having a WhatsApp group of investors and sending them a property, and of like 6 investors, some of them will be interested, some of them won't. I'll tell them what we do, and then we do it. And that was my sales process, and that worked for that. Is that going to work over here? Probably not. But you know, again, but you have to build up that relationship with people. But yeah, I love WhatsApp. If I could do all my business on WhatsApp, that would be great. But yeah, it's there's only so many sales processes that you can have, and I feel like I've refined, you know, what the best ones are. But again, if you're 2 years into your business, you got 6 months of runway left, and you're getting some business in from what you're doing, to then convince someone, actually, you get a lot more business doing this, but it's going to take 3 months for you to see anything. Again, it's like, and that's where a lot of businesses are at the moment. And but I think it's interesting. It's good fun, and yeah, like anything in business, it's yeah.
Yeah. So what do we say to all of those founders that are in that horrible position right now of just being really stressed because they're running out of runway and it doesn't look like there's another round coming in? What do you do?
You drop everything and you make more sales. You literally just, all you do for 12 hours a day is try and sell. Like, you make the contacts, you use whatever mediums that you want, like, but you just need to make sales. That is the only way you're going to increase the life of your company. And so I don't care what you do with the product, just drop it. Like, you've got an MVP, you know, if you've been going 1-2 years, you've got a good product. Like, in most cases, whether anyone wants that product is a different thing, but the only way to do it is for you to sell. And how you want to do that, if it's like marketing, but you only have a set period of time. So you need to drop everything as a founder, as a CTO, as a whatever, and you all just need to sell. It's as simple as that. And if you don't like selling, then, you know, probably get rid of you, like, and bring someone in who just likes selling.
I actually completely agree. And I would say, if you're a founder that's in that sort of semi-dire position, don't call me, don't call a marketing expert. Get on the phone and sell. That is your number one priority. And then when you have a little bit more stability, when you've got some bootstrapping going on, or you've got a 6-month runway plus, then call someone in to do marketing, growth, scalability stuff. But don't call me right now. Call potential clients, get on the phone and sell your product, because, you know, I can't turn your business around in 3 months. I might be able to do it in 4, 5, 6, but I'm not doing it in 3. So get on the blower.
Yeah. And get face to face and get on LinkedIn and speak to everyone that you can within your sector or without your sector, or people that you know. Say, right, what is your sales process, or how do you sell more than me? Like, what do you do? Oh, well, you know, we do. Brilliant. Okay, I'm going to try that. Like, but that's like, you can do that in a day. You can change the way that you sell within a day. You can, within a week, you will have worked out what sort of works, what doesn't work, and then you just keep building from there. And you're ultimately you have to make sales, like you've said. So if you're not a salesman or woman or person, you know, learn, read books, listen to podcasts, listen to, like, there's so many books out there about, you know, just pick one and you know, learn to sell. And again, it takes a day to learn to sell. Obviously, it takes a long time to get good at it, but, you know, you've just got to do it. And if you don't want to do it, your company's just going to go bust. I was lucky enough to go to the Sheffield Wednesday game. I don't know if you follow football, but they were 4-0 down in the playoffs from the first leg, and they came back and won. And I was at Hillsborough to watch it. It's absolutely amazing. Like, they got back to 4-4 full time. Then the Peterborough scored first in extra time, but then Sheffield Wednesday got one back, and then it went to penalties, and they scored all the penalties. It was just an atmosphere like nothing else. Then there's a massive pitch invasion. The reason why I thought of it, I got pictures of that, and it was just like, these people. Obviously, I didn't support anyone. I just got. Obviously, I was supporting Sheffield Wednesday because who I was with was supporting Sheffield Wednesday. But yeah, it was just absolutely amazing. What an atmosphere. And things like that, again, they just take you away from business, and you just, like, even though you get that euphoria and you see these people. We had a guy in front of us who's brilliant, huge guy, like tall, not fat, and he had really, like, fiery ginger hair. And every time Chef Wednesday got a throw in or a corner, he was up and he was like cheering, and he was like brilliant. It was like they'd just scored. but he was so involved and so passionate about it. I was just like, this is amazing. And I think that's how you've got to be about your business. Because if you're not there, like if you're not getting a sale and jumping up and down, like this is brilliant, like obviously you're then on to the next one. But, you know, you've got to take those small victories. And if you're not taking them and enjoying them, and it's just seen as a chore that you've got, again, we go back to the 3 to 6 months left to live as a business, you've got to you get something in, it's brilliant. You ask for referrals. Do you know any other agents who might be interested in this? Well, actually, you know, you've just sold it to one office or whatever. Yeah, we've got like 5 or 6 in our sister company that might be interested. Okay, brilliant. Referral. And it's things like that in the sales process that people don't think of. Referrals is the best way to make money. Best way to make money. And obviously, the more people you speak to, as long as you're doing it right, the more referrals you're going to get. And so the more business you're going to get. And it's just, it just rolls. Obviously, that's not the same for everyone because you've got to have a product that they want. But, you know, you're still, if you don't ask, you're not going to get. And it comes back to the thing with the acronyms and the grammar and all that sort of stuff. If you don't ask, you're not going to get. And ask anybody. It doesn't matter who you ask.
Yeah.
Ask 50 people, you're going to get different views and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you get like 10 replies back, then you're laughing, aren't you?
That's very true. And I always tell people when I tell them, you go and ask your customers this thing or that thing, and they go, oh, well, no one replied. And I go, okay, great. You learned something. You learned they're not interested in that thing you thought they would be really interested in. That's important. You never come from an exercise like that without learning something important. It's always compelling to do that. And so whatever you need to do to find out what you need to know, just go for it. Because no answer is an answer.
Yeah. And that's not a negative. That's a small win. That's a throw-in that you should be celebrating, because, you know, you now know that this particular messaging or this particular whatever, no one has any interest in. Like, you know, but until you ask, you don't know, do you? That's why you did your split testing and you know, so now you learn, you didn't get anything from, well, you did, you got knowledge from it, but you didn't get paying customers from it, but you learned so much that you can then tell your clients to do. And then it gives you, again, almost a sales, you know, I know almost a sales process when it comes to advertising. It's not going to work for everybody because, again, you've got to have the right product, but the more you do it, the more you learn. And you can do it cheaply. It's not like a big expense.
No.
Like, you only need to run it for, you know, a few days or whatever. And again, I don't know the cost, but it can't.
I've been doing, how long have I been doing this for? Coming up on a year. I've spent £200 on advertising.
Yeah, that's good. I've spent nothing.
There you go. That's even better, right?
Time, podcasts, time, editing. Like, I suppose if we look at, you know, obviously.
We have spent money on the podcast.
Yeah. Again, that's almost a business in itself that we'll have, you know, we've learned from and built. And again, we've asked so many people, and I think, you know, we need to have a conversation about this really, but I think there's a different angle that we can actually go at it with. Now we're a bit more established. Yeah, I think there's some really good stuff there, and we've learned so much from that. And, you know, a couple of people have paid us to do some advertising, and, you know, we've got more money coming in than we got coming out, even if that's a negligible amount. Like, it's still
a win.
Yeah, exactly. It's still a throw in. So celebrate it. But yeah, no, I love that guy in front of me. He was brilliant. And when they actually won, like, it was just like, it was like his head was going to explode.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. Cool. Are we done?
I think so.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us on the PropTech Growth Podcast. To learn more, you can find us on LinkedIn or email proptechpodcast@icloud.com. See you next time.